with the, ask everyone to lie, stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Leslie.
Mark DePace,
Here.
Amanda Grubler,
Here.
Kirsten Gustafson,
Here.
Willette Jones,
Here.
Calvin Lewis,
Here.
Matthew Mackerer,
Here.
Lakia Walker. Here.
Thank you. I make a motion to accept agenda as presented.
Second.
All in favor? Now we have our student representative report.
Good afternoon, everyone. So first off, I'm going to give a big congratulations to our Envirothon team who competed recently and is going to states. They placed first in the region and also third, so two of our teams placed first and third. States are on May 29th. Pretty sure they stay overnight and compete, I think, over 2 days. I could be wrong, though. Also recently, Model UN went to Dalton, a high school in New York. Went well. We had, a van for transportation, and it went very well. Now, coming up soon, we have our AP exams. We already had some students take self-studied AP tests. And this Friday we have AP US History. I don't remember when AP World was or is, and then AP Bio is after that. Now for events coming up, our Multicultural Festival is May 15th. That's during the school day, periods 6 to 8. It's ran by the Multicultural Club. There'll be events, there'll be tables set up representing various cultures, ran by students, presenting food and information about different countries and cultures. Our Meet the Board Candidate Night is also May 15th at 6 o'clock. We'll be hosting it here. The Student Council is very excited about that. Next Friday is the National Honor Society induction. That will be here in the auditorium. And then as for some senior events that are coming up, prom is May 31st. And after that, senior awards night will be June 5th. And the senior trip is June 9th. I also have a personal thing to talk about. I was selected as a finalist within a music scholarship or competition, and Hudson student has never been selected as a finalist before. The finalists of this scholarship go to places like Juilliard and Eastman and New England Conservatory. It's a very prestigious scholarship competition, and I'm very excited to be hopefully the only saxophonist to have ever placed in the top 3. I'm very excited to perform, but that's it. Thank you.
Oh,
Congratulations.
Okay, board reports. Policy Committee?
Oh, that's me. Okay. Policy committee updates. So we worked on a bunch of different things today. The ex officio student member of the board policy that's up for first read tonight. We made a few tweaks based on the lawyer, but nothing substantial, more like just formatting, that type of stuff. So that will be ready for a second read next week. The promotion and retention policy, all the attorney comments have been finalized and it will be ready for the first read next week. We will be retiring or rescinding 4750R, which had credit requirements for junior high, which isn't actually supported by the way that New York State tracks promotion. The high school credits obviously continue. We have worked a little bit on the org chart, which will be ready either, if not the next meeting, the meeting after that. And then let's see. Big things for tonight are the voting procedures is up for first read and also recommended adoption. And policy committee recommends that we adopt that because we need to make sure that the updates are in place for this imminent election. So the things that were changed on there were we added provisions for military ballots, added early voting language, updated language around assigning poll workers at least 10 days in advance, and added a line that the duty of the chairperson is to call the polls open and closed. So nothing that's like majorly different, but just making sure that the voting policy aligns to what truly is happening in our district and gives access to as many people to vote as possible. We are continuing to finalize the policy development and adoption and the policy charter, which will help us just move more efficiently through more policies moving forward. And we'll jump back into tackling and finalizing the code of conduct in our next meeting. Did I miss anything? All right.
No, thank you.
Okay. Facilities?
There's no report at this time.
Thank you. Audit committee?
No report at this time.
Thank you.
I did want to just add one thing. Wanted to thank Lakia and Ms. Rabinowitz for helping us put together a really great presentation for Teacher Appreciation Week. Also had a statement that, on behalf of the Hudson City School District Board of Education, want to extend our deepest thanks to the incredible teachers who serve our students every day with dedication, compassion, and creativity. Teaching has never been more complex or more vital. In every classroom, across every grade level, you're not only educating minds, but supporting hearts, nurturing curiosity, and helping students discover their potential. For many young people, school is more than a place to learn. It's a place to be seen, to feel safe, and to grow, and that's because of you. We see the effort you put in, the long hours, the personal sacrifices, and the deep commitment to our students' success, and we are grateful this week and every week. We thank you for everything you do to make our schools stronger and our community brighter.
Yeah. Thank you, Mark. Okay, presentations. High school data presentation.
Good evening, members of the board, superintendent, cabinet, and the public. So thank you so much for having us one more time. This time we're going to go over the status report for our Hudson Senior High School. I do not want to be repetitive. Some of these slides you have already seen that talk about the indicators for accountability status. And so I don't want to go over that again. You have that in front of you if you want to refer back to it. I do want to encourage you to look at all of the requirements, not only at the elementary level, but also at the high school. They're very important, obviously, for obvious reasons. In red, you can see that attendance and college career and civic readiness are both of these indicators are fairly new, but not so new. We have had the New York State Ed Department look at these indicators as one of the measures for accountability purposes. So this is something that we will continue to address in our school improvement plans that we have drafted for our school, and for every year we have to do the same thing. So we will address those then. As you can see, our Hudson Senior High School is in a local support and improvement designation. So that means that they receive support locally. So basically we are in charge, we the Hudson City School District, provide the supports that they need in order to continue to have a quality education for all of our students. There are some red flags that I'm going to point out that we should be very mindful of going into 25-26. So this is something that I have gone over before. These are all the designations, and you can see that in the local support is basically the bottom portion of it, district-led improvement support. And I have gone over this as well. These are the surrounding districts and where they are. So all of the students and all of the groups of students named in our school district, the breakdown, all of them meet the accountability status of local support improvement. And you can see that it is circled in red. And we will continue. Those that do not have a designation, it's because we don't have a large number of students in that particular group category. So in terms of the designations, you can see that this table shows you what are the different levels, the indicator levels, so level 1, 2, 3, and 4. And it takes into account the weighted average, the core, the graduation rate, ELP, chronic absenteeism. And so both of those are at level 1. And I will show you here in this particular slide is some of the red flags that I was talking to you about before. With our students that we need to be very, very mindful of, not to just be mindful of them, but be mindful about all our students. Particularly, we need to pay attention to the numbers that are in red. So Hispanic and Latino students and their graduation rate are at a 1. Black and African American students are at a 1. And so that makes our all population a 1. So even though they break it down by the different subgroups, because those two subgroups are not making the progress to rise to a level 2, we need to pay attention to all of our students, which is in red as a 1 as well. So that's something that we will be looking at very carefully and planning. Lots of planning and preparation and professional development for all of our teachers and administrators to address some of those concerns. And now I will hand it over to our esteemed principal of our high school, Mr. Derek Reardon, who will go over some regions data and some next steps.
Thanks, Dr. Corey Torres. So like she said, I'm going to cover last year's Regents data. Before getting into that, I just wanted to point out, I hate saying since COVID, I'm sick of saying since COVID, but the history with the Regents, like June 2020 and 21, there was exemptions, so our students didn't have to take them. In 22 and 23, all the way to August 2023, 65 was still passing, but we could apply for a waiver from a 50 to 64, and students would still get credit for passing that as long as they passed the class. And then this past June was the first time that they required, again, a 65 or higher without a waiver. Right? So that definitely had some impact on our scores. When we go over the Regents data, without question, I mean, we want to be as a building at the proficiency level with Questar in New York State at least. ELA, which is 11th grade Regents, and the only Regents for English, was at 75%, which is okay. Could do better. Math. So algebra was at 48, and our geometry was at 37. And for all of our tests, like we get the results back, the teachers look at the data, they look at the questions that our students were successful with, the ones that they weren't, they look at the curriculum, see how we can make adjustments. And as a board, I think you see our math data as a district, and it's not just a high school problem. This coming year, we have, I believe, 65% of our students that are going to be coming into 9th grade, like being recommended for either self-contained math or like a foundations of algebra. So they're not even being recommended for Algebra 1. And we're trying to put supports in place to help those students. It's a challenge. With math, we definitely, as a subject area, we've been struggling with as a district, unfortunately. Algebra 2, 86%. It's very good. Living environment, 58%. Earth science, 63. Chemistry, hats off to Mr. Antonelli. We were above Questar in New York State at 71. And physics at 64. And our global at 62. Also with these, there's been new Regis exams that they've been giving. 2022, there was supposed to be a new U.S. history exam. They ended up canceling it. If you remember the tragedy in Buffalo, they were going to offer that in early June, but canceled it because some of those questions might have upset some students. So the first time they offered that was 2023. And then last year, Algebra 1 was offered in early June. And this year, life science, geometry, and earth and space science are being offered early. So those are all new exams, formatted differently than the previous regions in those subjects. U.S. history, 77%. So our graduation rate last year, not where we want it, 74%. Regions could have played some part in that. This is me completing my third year in the high school. In looking at the cohort list, some of those students in that cohort list weren't even here when I came to the high school, for varying reasons. Has been a drop some because of test grades and attendance, and with the data Dr. Cortright-Torres presented, I'd say the biggest factor is student attendance, regardless of subgroup. And I know Mr. Brenneman is overseeing and trying to speak with all three buildings and put things in place that we're doing things consistently across the district. And we've made a lot of headway. There's been more communication in what we're doing in every building in regards to attendance. So moving forward, I think that is going to be a huge positive for us. And we do try our best, like we have each building, weekly attendance meetings. We talk about students that are chronically absent. And I mean, Darren Collins, we're sending him to houses on a regular basis, and some students were just not making headway with getting them to be here, as hard as it is, and we're trying everything within our power to do so. We will continue to do it. Right now, that number is looking similar for this year's graduation rate. We have every year with our seniors, we meet with them. Our guidance counselors meet with them all year long. If they need me to meet with them, I will. If they're getting a little more senioritis than typical seniors do. We met with them as a class right at the end of the third quarter. We continue to pull them in if they're not doing what they need to do in classrooms. We obviously communicate with parents, let them know, because the worst phone call I can make as the high school principal is to contact a parent or guardian the day before graduation saying their child isn't going to walk. So we're upfront and honest with parents and forthcoming as much as we can be. And we have made a lot of headway with a lot of students, but right now there's 3 that I'm thinking of that really need to put it in gear, so to speak. So some things we're looking at to improve Regent scores or graduation rate. We're looking at the schedule, so Mr. Bear and I are working on master schedules together, looking to free up some staff if it's available to provide extra support for some of the students in struggling subject areas. High school right now, it's really math. We're looking at possibly sequencing our courses differently. So for a long time, we've done algebra, geometry, algebra 2, pre-calc, calc. We might look to it. We wouldn't be the only school to do algebra 1, algebra 2 because it's similar, and then geometry after that. So we're looking at that within the master schedule right now, and maybe a few changes with science and earth science, because typically our students have really struggled with that exam A while ago, that used to be the course that was offered for our ninth graders. For those that have been here for a while, you might remember that. And I don't know, maybe 7, 8 years ago, they changed it to life science because it was a more successful passing rate. So a sequence might be for a student on an advanced track, life science, chemistry, and then whatever science is after that. MTSS process, I know you've heard a lot about that, especially from Dr. KT. And I'll admit, the high school needs to do a lot better job with that next year. It's difficult here because we have so many teachers teaching so many different subject levels. I mean, we could have, and the meetings are set up like 9th grade team, 10th grade team, 11th grade team. So if there's a team meeting, you're having teachers going off of 3 different lists. So I plan on meeting with Dr. Courtwright-Torres, try to make that a more productive process for the high school going into next year. And then frequency of meetings with our classes, especially our freshman class. Our freshman class is a class that tends to struggle the most. No matter how much we tell them, we can't seem to get it in their head that everything matters when they get to the high school. If you don't pass a class, you're going to retake it or be here for summer school if you qualify for it. And we do a couple meetings a year assembly-wise, so maybe we need to look at doing, especially with the 9th graders, monthly or every 6 weeks next year. I know you wanted to see like what offerings we had next year for our honors, our college credit, and our AP courses. So these are the honors classes. Advanced placement. For science, we did biology this year. Next year, it's environmental. It alternates for just a science every other year. And then these are all of our college offerings. Questions?
Do you have data on the 5-year graduation rate?
I can get
Like,
it for you.
Yeah, I'd just be
Yeah.
curious to know.
Yeah. Thomas?
Personally, I've noticed, I think, an increase in the number of English language learners in the school within the past couple of years. And I'm curious, after seeing that 20% graduation rate with that subgroup, I mean, is that a priority for the high school, or how is that increase in English language learners affected the data at least?
The increase with the graduation rate?
Yeah.
It's lowered the graduation rate. And that's a point of our school comprehensive education plan in trying to improve that. Unfortunately, we have 2 brand new E&L teachers in the high school this year, and certifications were different than the ones we previously had here, so there's been a change in like who they co-teach with. So that has been a work in progress for the high school. It's something we're always looking at and concerned about, and it is ever changing, and it seems to come in waves. Like right after the election it stopped, and then we had a number come just recently. And a lot of them they don't speak very good English, so academically it's a challenge for some of them in some of their classes, and we're doing our best with getting E&L teachers and special area teachers in classes with them to give them as much support as we can.
I'd like to add that we're looking also at the delivery of services for those students. So if they require 3 classes, let's say, to fulfill their the minutes that are required by New York State Education Department to have English as a second language taught to them, we're looking at how to fit that into the schedule. Sometimes it's very difficult given the other requirements that the students have. So looking at the delivery of services so that it's also a part and parcel of when we're doing the master scheduling piece. So if we cluster students, let's say, we can deliver those services more strategically and targeted so that all students get the interventions that they need. Note that, like Mr. Reardon said, some students come with 0 English. Those are considered beginner students. Some may have already some English. So it depends on the level that the student is tested at. When they come into the system, we give them a test and we see where they are in their English language proficiency level. And then based off of that is the amount of minutes that they require to get English as a second language. Yeah?
Are the steps to graduation different for an English language learner?
No, they're not.
When an English language learner enters the school, are they treated as different grade levels? Like if someone who's 17 enters the school needing to learn English, do they have to start at the beginning in terms of their regents?
So we got to look at where they come from. So did they have formal schooling, right? And whether they had classes in wherever they were that we can use as credits for our school. And if we can, then we transfer some of those credits over. If we cannot, then basically the student starts from where they came.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's a race with time, really, unfortunately. And parents, we have to let them know, and we inform them, this is how many years your child has in order to get to a point where they can walk and graduate. But yes, it's a race with time.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are the regents all taken in English, or can they use their native language?
No, some they can use their native language. The English regents, they can't.
The ELA, just like in other courses, in other grade levels, it has to be in English.
My next question is, I know our district opted in for taking biology this year instead of the living environment regents, and I'm curious how we can, if there's any predictions or anything about how that might go, or.
There's no prediction.
Okay.
I mean, it's a new test, and some district wanted to wait, and we were talking to Questar specialists that do science trainings. It's not just the life science, it's the earth and space too.
Yeah.
And they said, there's no way to prepare for it. It's the way you're teaching the labs. So, like, some districts wanted to see the test first and think they were going to do better, but we are assured that that wasn't going to make a difference.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Any other questions? No?
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Reardon.
Thank you, Dr. Corcoran.
I just want to say thank you to all the teachers on this Teacher Appreciation Week for all their hard work. And I just want to recognize them in public. So thank you for all that you do.
Thank you. 2025, 2026 proposed budget review.
Good evening, everyone. Ms. Ferry and I are here to give you another presentation on the proposed budget 2025-26. That was me, sorry. Right. So the vision emphasizes creating an inclusive learning environment that values the diverse passions, cultures, and talents of our students. It highlights a commitment from students, staff, and the community to learn, explore, and achieve collectively. Our mission. Our mission emphasizes inclusivity and motivation for all students to reach their highest potential as Blue Hawks and in their future endeavors. Our budget was built on the 6 keys of success. The first key is in strengthening the instructional leader capacity. This involves enhancing the skills and effectiveness of school leaders and administrators in guiding teaching and learning practices. By providing professional development and support, instructional leaders can be better influenced through curriculum, instruction, and assessment to improve the outcomes for our students. Strengthen the instructional core. This focuses on improving the interactions between teachers, students, and the content. By ensuring that all three elements are effectively aligned and supported, our schools can create better learning experiences and outcomes for students. Improve data-driven practice. This entails utilizing data to inform decision-making in schools. Our teachers and administrators analyze student performance data to identify the strengths and areas for improvement, which allows them to tailor instruction and interventions to meet the needs of all students. Promote a positive, inclusive school environment for all stakeholders. What does this mean? This means fostering a school culture that values and ensures that every student, staff, and parent feels welcome and supported. It's a positive environment that enhances student engagement and collaboration among all community members. Increase monitoring and accountability. This approach involves implementing systems to regularly assess progress and hold educators and students accountable for performance. This is done by setting clear expectations and monitoring outcomes. Each school can ensure that all stakeholders are committed to improvement. Tiered approach to school support and intervention. This strategy provides varying levels of support based on the needs of students. For example, some students may require intensive interventions, while others only need targeted supports. This tiered system allows our schools to allocate resources effectively and to help all students succeed. The 2025-26 proposed budget is intended to maintain general fund programs, to create efficient systems of support, with a total budget of $58,544,000. And now I will turn it over to Ms. Ferry to finish the rest of the presentation.
Good evening, and thank you for being here tonight. Tonight we'll walk through the key components of the school district budget by examining major expenditure categories organized by what are called budget code series. This helps us understand not only where our money goes, but how each part supports the mission of our schools. The budget account code is the New York State structure of accounts, and specific allocations will be available in the budget book online and on our district website. In order to create a balanced budget, there needs to be an increase in revenue to align with the increase in expenses. The increase in revenue for the proposed budget is primarily due to the planned use of additional assigned fund balance and reserves. Assigned fund balance represents money the district has intentionally set aside from prior years to support future budgets. This year, a larger portion of that balance is being applied to offset expenditures and help maintain program stability. Similarly, the district is drawing from specific reserves to manage costs strategically. These plan uses are one-time revenue sources and reflect a thoughtful approach to balancing the budget while addressing current financial needs. The total revenue is $58,544,000. As part of a fiscally responsible strategy, The district is reducing expenses through attrition by not filling certain positions when employees retire or leave or vacancies. This allows the district to manage staffing levels carefully, align resources with current needs, and avoid layoffs, while continuing to support essential programs and services. Now I'll go into definitions of the various series codes of our general support, our general budget. The 1000 series covers general support, the operations and services that make everything else possible. This includes the Board of Education, Superintendent's Office, Business Office, Legal Services, Human Resources, and the maintenance and upkeep of our school buildings. These are the backbone functions that keep the district running day to day, ensuring our schools are safe, well-managed, and fiscally sound. Next is the 2000 series instruction. This is where we fund classroom teachers, teaching assistants, special education, guidance and health services, libraries, technology, curriculum development, and instructional programs through BOCES. This series represents the largest share of the budget and directly impacts our students' educational experience. The 3000 series is transportation. Sorry. It includes our transportation contracts. Reliable transportation is essential to getting students to school safely and on time, and ensures access to learning, sports, and extracurricular activities. The 7000 series covers community services, activities that extend our school's reach into the community. This includes recreation programs, parent engagement efforts, youth services, and the civic use of school buildings. These programs strengthen our partnership with families and neighbors and reflect our role as a hub for community support. And finally, the 9000 series addresses employee benefits and debt service. This includes retirement system contributions, health insurance, Social Security, and other required benefits, along with payments on bonds and capital leases. These are essential commitments that support our staff and maintain our facilities for long-term use. Each series in the budget plays an important role in supporting student success. By reviewing these budget areas closely, we can ensure that every dollar is being used strategically, responsibly, and transparently. Thank you for your attentiveness. We hope that through this presentation, there's a better understanding of how financial resources are organized and allocated. And together, through clear communication and informed participation, we can ensure that every dollar supports our mission of providing high-quality educational opportunities for all students. And again, the budget book is online on the website for your review.
Thank you. Any questions?
Can we ask questions about the budget book or just the presentation?
You could do
Yeah.
that in the budget hearing,
Okay.
right?
No? Cool.
Now, let's do that now, right? Okay. Be it resolved, the Board of Education make a motion to open budget hearing for public comment discussions at 6:39.
Second.
All in favor? Okay.
Oh, so my first question is I'm looking at a category for total guidance, and there's a $200,000 decrease, or about a $218,000 decrease in total guidance. I'm just curious what guidance is, or total guidance, if you.
guidance has to do with guidance counselors.
Okay. And is that a loss in position?
So it's possible it's a vacancy that is not being filled.
Okay, thank you.
There was an excess amount of money in that line from previous years that wasn't being used.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Can one of you just speak a little bit to, I think, one of the things that I've heard from folks in the public who maybe are not here tonight about like why, you know, we know that healthcare costs went up, we know that transportation costs went up, there was a need to increase our budget significantly, and at the same time we're doing a capital improvement project. And just like to speak to the folks that maybe are watching virtually as to like why approving the budget and approving a capital improvement project is fiscally responsible.
Absolutely. So the following are the rationale for pursuing a capital project despite where we are with our budgets. So in the light of current budget restraint from the general fund, it's crucial to prioritize a capital project due to several compelling reasons related to long-term infrastructure needs and financial strategy. First, our district is grappling with aging infrastructure that is increasingly failing. This deterioration not only affects the safety and the functionality of our facilities, but also impedes our ability to provide a conducive learning environment for students. Investing in a capital project now will help address these urgent issues before they escalate into more significant, costly repairs in the future. Additionally, it is essential to recognize that our district debt is coming off. This situation provides a unique opportunity to pursue a capital project without imposing additional financial strain on our taxpayers. The construction time frame for the proposed project will not begin until the summer of 2026. This allows us time to secure necessary approvals, and this schedule will not overlap with the immediate budget challenges we face today. Furthermore, the process for a capital project necessitates that we begin the steps for voter approval to allow construction to commence in the year 2026. Since it takes approximately a year after a vote is approved to begin construction. Acting now is prudent and essential to ensure that we promptly meet our infrastructure goals. It is also crucial to note that undertaking a capital project should ideally occur every 5 years. This proactive approach helps keep our taxes lower over time by preventing the accumulation of significant deferred maintenance that would necessitate larger or more costly projects in the future. Moreover, significant renovations, expansions, or new constructions significantly exceed what can be accommodated in the regular annual school budget, prioritizing ongoing operational expenses. Therefore, securing dedicated funding through a capital project is not just a strategic necessity, it also aligns with our larger financial planning goals. Last, the New York State offers building aid to school districts for capital projects, which allows us to offset costs and enhance our feasibility. By leveraging the state funding, we can ensure that our necessary infrastructure improvements are achievable and financially responsible. And in conclusion, despite our current budget proposal, pursuing a capital project is a strategic investment in our district's future. It addresses urgent infrastructure needs, capitalizes on favorable financial circumstances, and ultimately protects our taxpayers from more significant costs down the line. Without proactive action now, we risk jeopardizing our district's educational environment and financial stability in the future.
Yes. Yep.
So I'd like to know if the public is going to be told what positions are not going to be hired for retirement. You said that attrition means retirements are not going to, because of retirement, jobs will not
Miss Christie, Miss Brooks, and Miss Ferry, Miss Brooks, and I apologize, will be working on this. And yes, once it's finished, we are very transparent. We will give the information. However, we need some time to work on this. We're planning to start working on this next week to just finalize. We've looked at it a little, but we've had a lot going on with trying to get the proposed budget done.
Okay, because like I thought, and I was under the impression, I could be wrong, but the last time we were here, I was told the budget book was going to be out on the 30th. I believe it was the 30th, and it never came out until today, 3:15. So of course I didn't have time to look at it and ask some questions during the hearing that I should be able to ask questions. So it's all a little crazy. I went to another budget meeting last week. There was no information. You couldn't see what was on the screen. It really frustrated me beyond frustration. I'm a taxpayer. I own 2 properties in this county that I have to pay the school tax on. I even know what's going on, and I've never seen a budget process like this before. And I understand you say it's coming, but so is the vote. Like, the vote is coming. It's almost here. And I still don't have the information that I really need to be able to ask questions at a public hearing that is tonight. And I don't have the information to get till 3:15. I didn't have time to look at that tonight. So the whole process is a little screwy here this year. Thank you.
Thank you. I understand your frustration.
Sorry, I guess my question is, when is the next budget hearing, or like community questions and budget hearing?
There are meetings. There's a meeting on Monday, May 12th at A.B. Shaw Firehouse, and Tuesday, May 13th in the high school cafeteria.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any further questions or comments from the public?
Okay. I make a motion to close the budget hearing at 6:48.
Second.
All in favor? No need for executive session at this time. I make a motion to accept the personnel agenda items A through 8.
Sorry, A1 through 8 and
A1
B1
through
through 4.
Mine when you open. A 1 through 8 and B 1 through 4.
Second.
Thank you. We all in favor? Thank you. Leslie,
Nobody signed up.
thank you. Okay, spotlight of Exeter.
Tonight's superintendent's report will begin with the spotlight on excellence. So tonight we have 4 spotlights. The first is and I know that each of them could not be here tonight. First is Miss Elena Mosley from Operation Unite. Miss Mosley is a great partner to our school districts. She ensures that our students has exposure to art and other enrichment activities. She also helps our students by giving them access to scholarships. Last week I had the opportunity where she exposed our students to city government. And she also, back in December, exposed our students to community service through gift wrapping for our senior home. Last week's Hudson's Youth Government Day was wonderful, and it was held in City Hall. So, Ms. Mosley, through Operation Unite, goes above and beyond for our school district to make sure that our partnership works great and helps to support our teachers, staff, and students, and our district as a whole. So, spotlighting Ms. Mosley tonight. Next, we have Jennifer Nixon, and she didn't know that I was gonna do this, but I did. So I was in conversation with her at the elementary school dance where she was with her son. And we started talking, and so what I learned was that during these budget times, Miss Nixon has a class that's going to a state park. And she said to me, Dr. Pennyman, all I need from you is $50 to enter the park because I've gotten she's gotten the money to pay for the bus, which is a huge, huge help for us during, these budget times. So she was able to secure the funds for the bus, and I felt like, this is going above and beyond. And also thinking of us during this time, with budget, with all of our, how expensive it costs for a school bus or to take our students where they need to be. So I decided to spotlight Ms. Nixon for that. Wayne Francis. Wayne Francis is one of our aides at the high school, and he gives extra support when it's time for our plays. But he also comes to my conversation with the superintendent. He always advocates above and beyond for safety. He chaperones, he goes above and beyond his day to help chaperone students whenever necessary. And I felt like I needed to spotlight Mr. Francis for his going above and beyond. He advocates for our students too. He would come to me and he would say, well, this is what's going on in E-School, and I don't see a student's name here, but they may be going to the tutoring center. We need to look into this. So he's proactive about that. And last but not least, Mr. Larry Stevenson. Mr. Stevenson gives countless hours for chaperoning. Everyone says he never says no. Mr. Reardon says when it comes to anything, he's always there. Just today, I was walking through the halls, and I heard a student say to Mr. Stevenson, "You know you're the only person I can talk to here." He's built relationships with our students, and he has great relationships with our students. And I'm spotlighting Mr. Stevenson for going above and beyond for our students. So those are my 4 spotlight on excellence. I would like this week, since Dr. KT wasn't here, I did spotlight her, and I'd like for her to come up and have her picture taken with the board, since we missed you on the last spotlight that we did when you were out sick. So if the board would like to just take the picture with Dr. KT, we could, that would be great. With you on board. Thank you, Sharon. This is Teacher Appreciation Week, and we just want to continue to thank our amazing educators who light up our districts daily for our students. So thank you, thank you, thank you, teachers. So MCSE has celebrated Earth Day, and I was able to attend Earth Day, and Senator Hinchey was there, as well as Mayor Johnson. And during that time, Mayor Johnson was able to, he donated, I believe, a tree to the school, and there was a fence was donated in the courtyard to Mayor Johnson for the magnolia tree. He donated a magnolia tree, and we got a free fence from Roma Fence to go around the magnolia tree. I was able to experience the planting of the tree, so it was very nice. Some reminders, conversations with the superintendent from 6 to 7 p.m., May 15th at the Hudson Department of Youth. I want to let everyone know that we do still have pre-K slots, so please tell your families and friends that 4-year-old can come on to MCSES in the fall, because we have a lot of slots left for pre-K. You may find the district and building calendars on the website. On last Friday, I attended the MBK symposium with our MBK fellows, and it was a great opportunity. Our MBK fellows participated in roundtable discussions as they were asked questions and had conversations, and then they had great speakers for them. And we had 2 new inductees to our MBK Fellows program. Also, I went to the CASDA Awards. I was accompanied by Mr. Brenneman and Miss Patch and the librarian, and then they honored the mayor because he was submitted by Mr. Brenneman to CASDA for community awards for the work he does by reading to the students every day. And to the students on Wednesdays when they have the reading program there, Hudson Reads. So he was chosen, and he was given a community service award. And Hudson City School Governance Day, as I spoke to you about already, that was held at City Hall. But upcoming events, May 12th, presentation on the budget at A.B. Shaw Firehouse at 5 p.m. Tuesday, May 13th, there's a presentation at the high school cafeteria at 5 p.m., which includes capital project and energy performance contract. We'll also have copies, because what happened the last time is when we have our presentations in the cafe, it's just a different look. But we plan to make copies this time of the presentations so that those who attend can have a copy. And then May 20th, we have, Thursday, May 15th, we have the Meet the Candidates Night that is hosted by our student council. And then on May 20th, we will have the budget vote and election on that night. You can also see there's a QR code that you can scan for more information. And then, again, our budget vote on May 20th from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. And thank you.
Okay, new business. Is these the ones you was talking about?
Yeah, so the one that we need, or that we are recommending that we vote on tonight so that we can have everything ready, is the voting procedures. And just to reiterate what I said before, that's here in the attorney, so in the public content one that says edited for returning review, the only changes to that are in the attorney recommendations that we would be approving are, hold on, I pulled it up so I got this right. Just that we replace the word ballot scanners with voting machine. Very technical update. And then the other update that just says that ballot scanners shall, in an emergency, the only exception to the use of voting machines shall be in emergency situations where they're unavailable. We added language due to a technical or mechanical failure. That's the only acceptable why voting machines would not be available.
Okay. You can talk, all right?
That one, yeah.
You want to do it? You want to do it?
I can do it.
So are we looking to approve that with those edits? Is that what?
We're looking
That's
to
what
approve
she's
that with
saying.
those edits. It's in, just because there's two versions attached here, there's one that's in the administrative content
Okay.
that has the attorney language. I just wanted to like stamp that there's two there.
Got it, okay.
Cool. So, make a motion to adopt policy 2120.2, voting procedures, with revisions suggested by our attorney.
Second.
All in favor?
That's all.
Yeah. The other policies are just first readings and don't need action today, right?
Yep.
All right, cool. I do like in the new 2410, expanding the policy committee to include other members of the community. I think that's a significant change.
Yeah, I'm
and,
really excited to get that up and running.
Yeah, so, yeah, let us know what you guys think.
Sorry, can I ask questions about?
Yeah, sure.
So, referring to the student member policy or the,
Mhm.
I had a couple comments. First off, in the policy, it refers to the student representative on the board as the student president. Technically, the position is the student council president, and I think that would be an important thing to note, as class officers are not the student representative, because they are also presidents, but it's the student council president who is the representative. I also had a question about, in here it says missing 3 consecutive meetings would result in something, but it's about the attendance. As a student council, if the student council president isn't able to attend, the vice president attends in their stead, and I'm curious if that absentee rule refers to the president themselves or just any representative being on the board. So if the president isn't there for 3 meetings and the vice president steps up for those 3 meetings, is the president's position as the representative in are up for debate, or is it just, or sorry, I just clarification
No.
on that would be
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a good
I think
question.
the way it's written is that if you missed 3 or more, that there would be sort of follow-up about continued, find the exact language here. The way that I interpret that is like if you just didn't show for 3 meetings and hadn't made plans for your replacement.
Okay.
That we would have a conversation about whether or not someone else should step into that role who was able to be there. But of course, with notice, with reason, with a replacement is a very different thing.
Okay, thank you. And then the other thing was leaving the meetings early with permission from the board president. I don't know if that was a thing before, but if I had to leave early, I just kind of left. And I'm curious if that needs to be like pre-approved permission to leave early, or if it's just in the moment, like if the representative needs to leave, they can leave. Is that?
Yeah, I think in the moment is fine, or just a heads up. I mean, the
Okay.
other change that we did make today, I don't know if it's in the draft that's public, but you'll see it on the next reading, is making sure that the meeting that you have with the superintendent is after the agenda is set. So, so you'll have more insight into, you know, what's on the agenda and be able to formulate questions. And I think that would also be an appropriate time to, you know, if you know you're gonna need to leave early, say, hey, I might need to leave early. This looks like it'll be a long meeting.
Yeah. Or I always need to leave by 8:30
Yes.
because,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah.
Something that's not mentioned on here, but is sort of insinuated, is the term lengths for the president. They're elected at the end of the school year and start September 1st of the next school year. And something that happened to me, I don't know if this would be a thing for any other representative, but during the summer meetings, there are a couple I wanted to attend and was wondering if my position would be sat at the table. And I'm curious if the board might like to consider that possibility if a representative wanted to, or student representative wanted to attend over the summer for, I think there's a couple meetings, if they could potentially have a seat on the board or not. So just consider that if it's a possibility. And sorry. Oh, there is another piece of policy that was that I found from a while ago referring to the policy committee and the fact that the student representative is already supposed to be a part of the policy committee and be consulted on the creation of policy. Unfortunately, I have a saxophone lesson in Bethlehem before every single one of these meetings, so I can never make the policy meetings, but for the future, I'm curious if you might like to include that student representatives are always welcome at policy meetings in this piece of policy, if it's not already. That might be something to include as well. And if you need me to find that policy I'm referring to, I can do that as well.
Yeah, definitely send that our way. I do think the new charter does spell that out too, a little bit more clearly.
It's not here, but it's in the, if you look at the one that is, sorry, too many tabs open as we've talked about things.
Letter C.
In the policy policy charter, we talked about opening the policy committee up to community members, so we would actually have like official family members, teachers, leaders, students who wanted potentially to be on it. Well, we would sort of have a set committee that was those people.
In the piece of policy I'm referring to that already exists, referring to the policy committee, the student representative is named, like that position is included. Again, I can find it and I can find it for you if you want to see it, but I don't know. I feel like that piece of policy was very hard for me to find, and I'm curious if you might want to consider just including that blanketly within the student representative specific policy.
Yeah, if you can find it and send it our way, that would be great.
Yes, we're also working on making it so that all of the policies are easier to find.
Yes.
Thank you. I would appreciate that.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to make a motion to approve consistent items, agenda items A through G.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you. Okay. Leslie, no one still, right?
Nobody.
Thank you. Board discussion. Well, there's nothing in old business, so now board discussion.
Anybody have anything else of note to add? No?
That's it? Okay. Important meeting dates. Audit committee meeting Friday, May 9th, 2025 at 10:30 a.m. in the district office conference room. Committee proposed budget presentation Monday, May 12th, 2025 at 5 p.m. at the A.B. Shaw Firehouse. Facilities Committee, Community Capital Project, Energy Performance Contract and proposed 2025-2026 budget presentation May 13th, 2025 at 5 p.m. in the high school cafeteria. Policy Committee meeting Tuesday, May 20th, 2025 at 6 p.m. in the high school library. Special Board of Education meeting Tuesday, May 20th, 2025 at 8 p.m. in the high school library. Annual budget vote and board member election. Okay. So we do. So at this time is executive session. We do need an executive session, and at 7:10, and there'll be no further business. Thank you.
Second?
All-
Second?
All in favor?
Thank you all for being here.